Left-hand traffic, LHT, and right-hand traffic, RHT, are the practices, in bidirectional traffic, of keeping to the left side and to the right side of the road, respectively. They are fundamental to traffic flow, and are sometimes called the rule of the road. The terms right and left-hand drive refer to the position of the driver and the steering wheel in the vehicle and are, in automobiles, the reverse of the terms right and left-hand traffic. The rule also includes where on the road a vehicle is to be driven, if there is room for more than one vehicle in the one direction, and the side on which the vehicle in the rear overtakes the one in the front. For example, a driver in an LHT country would typically overtake on the right of the vehicle being overtaken. RHT is used in 165 countries and territories, mainly in the Americas, continental Europe, most of Africa and mainland Asia, except South Asia, while 75 countries use LHT, which account for about a sixth of the world's land area, a quarter of its roads, and about a third of its population. In 1919, 104 of the world's territories were LHT and an equal number were RHT. Between 1919 and 1986, 34 of the LHT territories switched to RHT. Many of the countries using LHT were part of the British Empire, while others were not, such as Indonesia, Japan, Nepal, Bhutan, Macao, Thailand, Mozambique, Suriname, United States Virgin Islands, Sweden, and Iceland, which use RHT since September 1967 and late May 1968 respectively. Most of the countries that were part of the French colonial empire adopted RHT. Historical switches of traffic handedness have often been motivated by factors such as changes in political administration, a desire for uniformity within a country or with neighboring states, or availability and affordability of vehicles. In LHT, traffic keeps left and cars usually have the steering wheel on the right, RHD, right-hand drive, and roundabouts circulate clockwise. RHT is the opposite, traffic keeps right, the driver usually sits on the left side of the car, LHD, left-hand drive, and roundabouts circulate anti-clockwise. In most countries, rail traffic follows the handedness of the roads, but many of the countries that switched road traffic from LHT to RHT did not switch their trains. Boat traffic on bodies of water is RHT, regardless of location. Boats are traditionally piloted from the starboard side, and not the port side like RHT road traffic vehicles, to facilitate priority to the right. Historically, many places kept left, while many others kept right, often within the same country. There are many myths that attempt to explain why one or the other is preferred. About 90% of people are right-handed and many explanations reference this. Horses are traditionally mounted from the left, and led from the left, with the reins in the right hand. So, people walking horses might use RHT, to keep the animals separated. Also referenced is the need for pedestrians to keep their swords in the right hand and pass on the left as in LHT, for self-defense. It has been suggested that wagon drivers whipped their horses with their right hand, and thus sat on the left-hand side of the wagon, as in RHT. Academic Chris McManus notes that writers have stated that in the year 1300, Pope Boniface VIII directed pilgrims to keep left, however, others suggest that he directed them to keep to the right, and there is no documented evidence to back either claim. Although many LHT jurisdictions are on islands, there are cases where vehicles may be driven from LHT across a border into a RHT area. Such borders are mostly located in Africa and Southern Asia. The Vienna Convention on Road Traffic regulates the use of foreign registered vehicles in the 78 countries that have ratified it. LHT Thailand has 3 RHT neighbors, Cambodia, Laos, and Myanmar. Most of its borders use a simple traffic light to do the switch, but there are also interchanges that enable the switch while keeping up a continuous flow of traffic. There are 6 road border crossing points between Hong Kong and mainland China. In 2006, the daily average number of vehicle trips recorded at Lok Macao was 31,100. The next largest is Macao, where there is no changeover system and the border roads on the mainland side when joined to intersect as one-way streets with the main road. The Tacutu River Bridge, which links LHT Guyana and RHT Brazil, is the only border in the Americas where traffic changes sides. In RHT jurisdictions, vehicles are typically configured as left-hand drive, LHD, with the steering wheel on the left side of the passenger compartment. In LHT jurisdictions, the reverse is true as the right-hand drive, RHD, configuration. In most jurisdictions, the position of the steering wheel is not regulated, or explicitly permitted to be anywhere. The driver's side, the side closer to the center of the road, is sometimes called the offside, while the passenger side, the side closer to the side of the road, is sometimes called the near side. Most windscreen wipers are preferentially designed to better clean the driver's side of the windscreen and thus have a longer wiper blade on the driver's side and wipe up from the passenger side to the driver's side. Thus, on LHD configurations, they wipe up from right to left, viewed from inside the vehicle, and do the opposite on RHD vehicles. In both LHD and RHD vehicles, gear shifters are in the same position, and the shift patterns are not reversed. Historically, there was less consistency in the relationship of the position of the driver to the handedness of traffic. Most American cars produced before 1910 were RHD. In 1908, Henry Ford standardized the Model T as LHD in RHT America, arguing that with RHD and RHT, the passenger was obliged to get out on the street side and walk around the car, and that with steering from the left, the driver is able to see even the wheels of the other car and easily avoids danger. By 1915, other manufacturers followed Ford's lead, due to the popularity of the Model T. In specialized cases, the driver will sit on the near side, or curbside. Examples include where the driver needs a good view of the near side, example street sweepers, or vehicles driven along unstable road edges. Similarly, in mountainous areas, the driver may be seated opposite side so that they have a better view of the road edge, which may fall away for very many meters into the valley below. Swiss post buses in mountainous areas are a well-known example. Where it is more convenient for the driver to be on the near side, example delivery vehicles. The Grumman LLV postal delivery truck is widely used with RHD configurations in RHT North America. Some Unimogs are designed to switch between LHD and RHD to permit operators to work on the more convenient side of the truck. Generally, the convention is to mount a motorcycle on the left, and kickstands are usually on the left, which makes it more convenient to mount on the safer curbs. Ideas is the case in LHT. Some jurisdictions prohibit fitting a sidecar to a motorcycle's offside. In 2020, there were 160 LHD heavy goods vehicles in the UK involved in accidents, 5%, for a total of 3,175 accidents, killing 215 people, 5%, for a total of 4,271. It has been suggested that right-hand drive vehicles, and hence the left-hand traffic direction, are associated with greater safety. As most drivers are right-handed, the dominant right hand remains controlled on the steering wheel while the non-dominant left hand can manipulate gears. The right field of vision may also be more dominant, thereby permitting a superior view of oncoming traffic. Some manufacturers primarily produce left-hand drive vehicles, due to the larger or nearer market for such vehicles. For such models supplied to left-hand traffic markets, in the right-hand drive configuration, the manufacturer may reuse the same dashboard configuration as is used in the left-hand drive models, with the steering column and pedals moved to the right-hand side. Oft-used controls, such as audio volume and fan controls, that were placed near the left-hand driver for ease of access, are now situated on the far side of the center console for the right-hand driver. This may make them more difficult to reach quickly or without looking away from the road ahead. In some cases, the manufacturer's dashboard design incorporates blanks and modular components, which permits the controls and underlying electronics to be rearranged to suit the right-hand drive model. This may be done in the factory, after import, or as an aftermarket modification. Most low-beam headlamps produce an asymmetrical light suitable for use on only one side of the road. Low-beam headlamps in LHT jurisdictions throw most of their light forward leftward, those for RHT throw most of their light forward rightward, thus illuminating obstacles and road signs while minimizing glare for oncoming traffic. In Europe, headlamps approved for use on one side of the road must be adaptable to produce adequate illumination with controlled glare for temporarily driving on the other side of the road. This may be achieved by affixing masking strips or prismatic lenses to a part of the lens or by moving all or part of the headlamp optic so all or part of the beam is shifted or the asymmetrical portion is occluded. Some varieties of the projector-type headlamp can be fully adjusted to produce a proper LHT or RHT beam by shifting a lever or other movable element in or on the lamp assembly. Some vehicles adjust the headlamps automatically when the car's GPS detects that the vehicle has moved from LHT to RHT and vice versa. Rear fog lamps. In Europe since early 1980s, cars must be equipped with one or two red rear fog lamps. A single rear fog lamp must be located between the vehicle's longitudinal central line and the outer extent of the driver's side of the vehicle. NCAP reports that some RHD cars imported to Australia did not perform as well on crash tests as the LHD versions, although the cause is unknown, and may be due to differences in testing methodology. In most countries rail traffic travels on the same side as road traffic. However, there are many instances of railways built using LHT British technology which remained LHT despite their nation's road traffic becoming RHT. Examples include Argentina, Belgium, Bolivia, Cambodia, China, Egypt, France, Iraq, Israel, Italy, Laos, Monaco, Morocco, Myanmar, Nigeria, Peru, Portugal, Senegal, Slovenia, Sweden, Switzerland, Taiwan, Tunisia, Uruguay, and Venezuela. France is mainly LHT for trains except for the classic lines in Alsace, Lorraine, which were converted from LHT to RHT under German administration from 1870 to 1918. In North America, multi-track rail lines with centralized traffic control are typically signaled to allow operation on any track in both directions, and the side of operation will vary based on the railroad's specific operational requirements. In practice, however, rail traffic is more often RHT. Indonesia is the only country in the world which has RHT for rails, even for newer rail systems such as the LRT and the MRT systems, and LHT for roads. Metro and light rail sides of operation vary and might not match railways or roads in their country. Some systems where the metro matches the side of the national rail network but not the roads include those in Bilbao, Buenos Aires, Cairo, Catania, Jakarta, Lisbon, Lyon, Naples, and Rome. A small number of cities, including Madrid and Stockholm, originally ran on the same side as road traffic when the systems opened in 1919 and 1950 respectively, but had road traffic change in 1924 and 1967 respectively. Conversely, metros in France, except for the aforementioned Lyon, and mainland China run on the right just like roads, while mainline trains run on the left. A small number of systems have situational reasons to differ from the norm. On the MTR in Hong Kong, the section originally known as the Ma On Shan line, now part of the Tuen Ma line, runs on the right to make interchanging with the East Rail line easier, while the rest of the system runs on the left. On the Seoul Metropolitan Subway, lines that integrate with Korail, except Line 3, which is disconnected from the rest of the network, run on the left, while the lines that are not run on the right. In Nizhny Novgorod, Line 2 runs on the left due to the track layout when it first opened as a branch of Line 1. In Lima, Line 1 runs entirely on the left, while Line 2 runs entirely on the right. Metro Line M1 in Budapest is the only metro line to have switched sides. It originally ran on the left but switched to right-hand running during the line's reconstruction around 1973. Because trams frequently operate on roads, they generally operate on the same side as other road traffic. Boats are traditionally piloted from starboard, the right-hand side, to facilitate priority to the right. According to the international regulations for preventing collisions at sea, water traffic is effectively RHT, a vessel proceeding along a narrow channel must keep to starboard, and when two power-driven vessels are meeting head-on, both must alter course to starboard also. Typically, especially for larger vessels, a radio call will be made between two vessels, or with a vessel traffic service, VTS, to coordinate if the vessels will pass green to green or red to red. Marine traffic uses a system of green lighting for the starboard, right-hand, side and red for port, left-hand, side, to pass green to green. The green, starboard, right-hand, side of the vessels will pass each other, essentially being left-hand traffic. Similarly, passing red to red means the red, port, left-hand, side of the vessels will pass each other, forming right-hand traffic. In busy waterways, directional shipping lanes may be set up to facilitate handedness of traffic. For example, the Strait of Dover, Pas-de-Calais, on the English Channel uses RHT with North Sea-bound vessels following the French coast and Atlantic-bound vessels following the English coast. For aircraft, the U.S. Federal Aviation Regulations suggest RHT principles, both in the air and on water, and in aircraft with side-by-side cockpit seating, the pilot in command, or more senior flight officer, traditionally occupies the left seat. However, helicopter practice tends to favor the right-hand seat for the pilot in command, particularly when flying solo. Of the 195 countries currently recognized by the United Nations, 141 use RHT and 54 use LHT on roads in general. Thank you for watching this video.